Welcome back. We are here. It is a beautiful Monday night, and we are back with another brand new video. It's a special one too, because we are doing a tutorial on color grading. So today, guys, we are going to go over my color grading process. I'm going to go over three specific ways that you could color correct and color grade. One just off of Final Cut itself, one off a free plugin, and two off Color Finale, which is the plugin that I use, and you have to pay for it. Without wasting any more time, let's get right to it.
Really even start. I got hoes that I'm keeping in the dark. I got my niggas across the street living large. Thinking back to the fact that they dead, thought my raps were the facts, so they sat with the bars. I got two phones, one need a charge. Yeah, they twins, I can tell they ass apart. I got big packs.
Alright, so we are here on Final Cut Pro, and we have three specific clips. And on each clip, you can see that each clip is being filmed in a log format. So basically, that's going to help us color grading, because that helps us retain information on the colors and on the image itself. And on each clip, we're going to go ahead and go through our three specific ways of color grading, which the first way is color correction, second way is through Motion VFX, which is a free plugin. Plugin link will be down below for you guys to download, and the third way is the way that I go about it now. I used to do Motion VFX, but eventually I upgraded to Color Finale. Personally, I prefer it more. It's just that one you have to pay for it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right to it. So on the first clip, how you would color grade on Final Cut itself without any plugins, nothing, is first things first. You're gonna go into preferences, and what I like to do is go into general. Down on general, you go to color correction, and you want to set that to what I always start off with is the color curves. And so you want to exit out, and then you're gonna select your clip. So we're gonna go ahead and edit this first, which is Russell squatting. And once you select this, you're gonna go over to your right hand side and go to your color tab, your color inspector, and then you should see something like this, which is your color curves. We're gonna make a little S curve. So over here, this is the highlights. Go on top, make an S curve just like that, and right there we added some contrast, and we're gonna do the same thing on the red, green, and blue. So same thing here, basically mimicking our Luma curve. So S, 3 points of contact over on our green, and over on our blues. Cool beans. And then you can see there's some kind of like yellowish tones to it, so you just go back down to greens, play around with it. And basically what you're doing here is you're adding some contrast. So take this off, that's the before, that's the after. You're adding some contrast to that. You can even add more by playing around with it. So just playing around with it to see what you like. That looks good to me. And so we're gonna click here, and now we're gonna go to color wheels. Here's where I go after, and what I do is I bring up a saturation on the global, and then that shows me a good base of what to work off of, and then I just mess around with the color wheels. So shadows, gonna bring that down a notch. Highlights, it's already very well highlighted. The midtones, gonna bring that down just a tad. And they're gonna mess around with the saturation on the midtones, bring that up a notch. Shadows, and then boom. And you can almost kind of tell like it has like a warm tint to it. So we're gonna go ahead and go down to temperatures, play around with it. So bring this down. If we see it's at 5,000 Kelvin, bring this down just a little bit, maybe at 46. Mess around with the tints too. Add a little bit of a tint to it. That's probably like a 2. And very easily, that is what a normal color correction would be. Basically just bringing the colors back to life from a log format. So that's the before, this is the after. So that's how you would color grade if you were just color correcting off of Final Cut. No plugins, no LUTs, no nothing, just a simple color correction on your clip. And now we're gonna jump into if you were gonna use a plugin. So Motion VFX is a free plugin. This isn't a sponsored video whatsoever. They didn't pay me to use this. I actually used the products whenever I first started using Luts. And with Motion VFX, you're actually able to bring in Luts and use that for your videos. A LUT stands for lookup table, and basically what a LUT is kind of like a preset, like a filter for your videos. If you guys are familiar with presets on Lightroom, LUTs is basically the same thing, just for videos. So download Motion VFX, should be in the link below. Do that, get that plugin into your Final Cut, and basically what you want to do is go here into the effects tab, and we're gonna look up Motion VFX, and it's gonna look like this: MLUT My Motion VFX. Gonna click on that, drag that into the clip, and boom, this should pop up. So this is your MLUT plugin. Basically, you could do the same thing as we just did with the previous clip and color correct it using these tabs. Maybe it might work better too, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in LUTs. So we're gonna go ahead and bring in one of our LUTs that we use on a day-to-day basis. And so LUTs, our pack, and we're gonna bring in teal and orange. And this is what comes up. So basically, by bringing this LUT in, you're bringing already like an already established look to your video. This is the before, this is the after. And then if you guys want to buy the LUT packs, they will be down below in the first link to try it out. If you guys want to follow along too. And basically, you can even mess around with the intensity of the LUT. You know, maybe if it's like too harsh, you can bring it down to 50%, something slight, nothing too crazy, but we're gonna leave it just as is, and then we're just gonna mess around with it. If you guys can tell, it's kind of like too dark for my liking, so we're gonna go to first. Let's go to midtones, bring that up just a tad, and then mess around with the shadows, maybe even the contrast too. Nothing on the hue, and just like that, you have a specific look for your video by bringing in LUTs. And just to show you guys another way, another LUT, there's different LUTs for everything. You can even bring, this is my corruption LUT, and you guys can see this one's very, very harsh. So we're just gonna bring down the intensity to 40%. Mess around with the midtones, shadows, contrasting just like that. And then that's the before and the after. Just a nice little simple color grade to it. And this is by using Motion VFX, which is a free plugin. If you guys want to get started on using LUTs, mess around with LUTs, my LUTs, other creators' LUTs, this is one perfect way. It's free, you don't have to pay anything, and you can get started to learn how to use LUTs just like that. So now I'm going to show you guys my preferred way and how I go about it every single time. So here we have kind of lifting, and then what we're going to do is bring in Color Finale. Link to Color Finale will be in the link below, in the bio, description below. And this is what comes up whenever you bring Color Finale Pro. And this is how I go about it. So my process, how I have been doing it for the past few months since I've gotten Color Finale, is I'll bring in the plugin Color Finale Pro, go down to layers, start by using my curves. I'll start messing with the curves, so I'll make an S curve, kind of like an S curve, very small S curve, just like that. And boom, you can already see we brought in some contrast to the picture. So if we take this off, that's the before, that's the after, and it's already looking more rich in contrast. I don't really mess around with the greens, the RGB just yet, so now we're gonna go ahead and exit out of that, and now we're gonna go mess around with the color corrections. So we already added some contrast, so we're gonna bring in some more, probably like 10. That should be good. Mess around with the pivot, nothing too crazy, maybe like -15. Saturation, I like to mess around with that a lot, so I'll probably bring that to maybe like 1.5 should be good. 1.5. And then the sharpness, I don't like to add too much sharpness because this is what that looks like. Kind of looks like a VHS look to it. So if you're going for that, cool, but I usually just bring it, I don't go past like 15, so maybe like 10. And then that's already a good look. I mean, you got your colors, you got, you know, your contrast, your highlights, everything's very nicely, exposed. So now, after I do all of that, I go back into layers, and I will come to the 6 vectors, which is your colors, your primary colors. And I just go through each color and just mess around with each color. So let's start off with red, mess around with the hue, see what I like. A little bit just under the negatives here, that should be good. Mess around with the saturation. Even if we go all the way down to fully a saturated red, like even that looks good, but we're gonna go ahead and just go to like maybe 0.6 on this. I don't really mess around with the luminosity on all of these. You could if you wanted to, but I personally don't. The luminosity, I just work on the curves and all that, in the curves. Back to the greens, there's really not much in the greens going on here, so I'll mess with that. In the blues, you can see you have some blues in the TV and the shirts. Nothing too crazy on that, so honestly I just slightly desaturate that. Your teals, same thing in the TVs, the shirt, so I'll slightly saturate that. And then the yellows, you'll find the yellows mostly in skin tones. That's where I mess around with the skin tones and all that. So here in the yellows, slightly mess around with the hue just to find that perfect skin tone for her skin. Saturate that just a slightly bit right there too. Don't mess too much with this luminosity, and then boom. Then if you want, you can also mess around with the color wheels. They have also the HSL curves too, but I don't really touch up too much on that because I just don't see the need to. So just gonna go ahead and delete those. But that is my preferred way to color grade, and that's if you're just color grading off of Color Finale Pro. So if you were to use a LUT on Color Finale Pro, this is how you would go about it. Let me just go ahead and delete this, bring in a new one, and you're gonna go onto color management, and then color profile, you're gonna go into use input LUT. And I already have some of my LUTs here that I've gone through and used, and we're gonna go ahead and bring in corruption. And that's corruption without any grade, any color correction, just the LUT itself. Gonna go ahead and mix. This is the intensity basically of the LUT, which is what was on Motion VFX, the intensity. So we mess around with that. That's how intense you would want to look. At 100, it looks just a little bit too saturated for me, so we're gonna go ahead and bring that down to maybe, I'm thinking 65. And then you can already see that there's a little bit less of a contrast, so we're gonna go ahead and fix that down here. Bring the contrast down, and then overall, I mean, that looks good itself. I'm thinking it's like too dark for my liking, so we're gonna go into layers and go into the curves and just bring in some highlights in, nothing too crazy, and that should be a good color grade right there. So that is my preferred way on how to color grade, but you can do any of the 3 ways I just showed you guys: color correction, the free plugin, or if you want to go ahead and buy Color Finale, which is my preferred way, you can go ahead and do that. And you can use LUTs on the last 2 ways that I showed you guys. And if you guys want to go ahead and use my LUTs, once again, the link will be down below for you guys to purchase. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be doing a lot more instructional and tutorial type of videos down the line. Thank you guys so much for the support on my presets, my LUTs. We just recently launched our first ever LUT pack. Hopefully with that, you guys go ahead and cop that and go back to this video as a kind of like a practice course and get some practice in on color grading. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please share it, like it, subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Later, guys.